Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Sunday, September 11th, around 1 p.m. Mountain Time 2022. Now, a powerful quake hit Papua New Guinea yesterday. 7.6 struck eastern Papua New Guinea, killing at least 4 as of this morning. And good news, it was in an unpopulated area. But the big story, Chicago weather alert, flash flood warning in effect for Cook, DuPage, and Will counties as a low-pressure system is stuck over that region and will cause flooding. Keep calm. It's boom time. Heavy rain and possible flooding in several locations across the U.S. Several locations in the U.S. may see organized areas of heavy rain and thunderstorms on Sunday that may result in flooding. Tropical moisture ahead of a cold front may produce flooding in the mid-Atlantic and parts of Florida. An area of low pressure may produce heavy rain in parts of Wisconsin and Illinois. Finally, residual K moisture may cause flooding in the Southwest and California. And this is ongoing for the next few days. We'll show you the models in just a moment. Take a look at the counties in California, Southern California for flooding potential. And we told you about that warning there in Wisconsin. So heads up there, and let's take a look. Those are the heavy storms associated with the system that's going to linger there through Monday. So holy macaroni. Take a look at that. It's just whirling around there. Then it will eventually dissipate here on Tuesday. But if you look at the Southwest, there are going to be bands. So let's back it up. You can see the K sitting right offshore there of Southern California. Those residual bands are going to come in to Arizona and New Mexico on Tuesday, and Wednesday in the Four Corners region, and southwestern Colorado and Utah flooding on Wednesday, and a little residual moisture on Thursday. So heads up in those regions, heavy rains are coming, and no one's bumming. Portland weather, it continues with haze and moderate air quality, and that's because we've got a lot of smoke, especially stacking up in the Northwest. Take a look at Seattle and Vancouver, covered in haze. Most of the country is, in fact, covered in some type of smoke. I'm in the Four Corners here, not that hazy, so this level is not too hazy. Just was outside. And that's because all this is because of the Moose Fire and the Double Creek Fire. The Moose Fire just grew to over 125,000 acres. It's about 34% contained, and it's burning 17 miles north of Salmon, Idaho. And we can take a look at it on Null School in just a minute here, but the latest updates for the Moose Fire and the Wood Tick update, we're going to leave you links to that if you're in the area. There are new evacuation maps with streets. So we're going to come over here to Null School, where we have put on particulates PM 2.5, and we can see the Moose Fire and what is the other one? Let's move that over here. The Double Creek Fire almost coming together here in a one massive. And this down here is the Mosquito Fire. Boom, right there. That's creating its own weather. So lots of storms in the Northwest and lots of fires in the Northwest and California, but not in the rest of the country. Something just south of Texas there burning. And take a look at Canada. Usually this time of year, most of Western Canada here is on fire, and that's just not happening this year. One isolated event, it looks like here, and an event across the border here, potentially in Washington State, Montana, and across the border there. So let's see if that fire shows up. Yep, there they are. So there are the Weasel Fire and others right up on the border here. So a lot of fires in the U.S., not so much in Canada. And we're looking at the actual data from Null School, and we can tell that. So links below will be below for Null School, and check it out. You can animate the wind. You can animate the currents. And with the wind animation, obviously you can see where this smoke is blowing, and it should be blowing towards us today, unfortunately. So our air quality will be dropping. Now the polar vortex is now emerging in the stratosphere over the North Pole. And that means, well, winter may start early this year. And let's talk about the powerful quake that hit Papua New Guinea. An earthquake of magnitude 7.6 struck in eastern Papua New Guinea on Sunday, killing at least 4, injuring others, and damaging property and essential infrastructure. The quake hit about 67 kilometers east of Kainantu and 80 kilometers northwest of Lai in the eastern PNG region at about 9:45 a.m. local time, but was felt some 500 kilometers or over 300 miles away in the capital of Port Moresby. The full extent of damage was not immediately clear as the location of the earthquake was remote. Earthquakes are common in Papua New Guinea, which sits on the Pacific Ocean's Ring of Fire, a hotspot for seismic activity due to friction between plates there. So we'll come over and take a look. There's the quake in question. And if we do the satellite overlay here, what we're going to see is that it is a very remote region, not as remote as this other large quake. And there it is. There are a few cities around here, obviously, that we could see some farming going on down there. And there was some buckling of roads and things like that. So a big event. And it's been a long time since we've had an event of this magnitude. So that's good news. We're releasing some pressure here on the planet. No other quakes of note. Could this be a frac quake? Yeah, frac quake in Kansas. Now, here we are at the Tyrannus fracture zone, where the Iceland seismic crisis continues for the fourth day, albeit it's waning slightly, but a flurry of activity out into the ocean there in northern Iceland. Now, one of the side effects of this we've been telling you is a larger quake in Iceland, so our prayers go out to the people there to be prepared and not scared for what may be coming. Space weather news update. We have had an uptick on the sun, finally. It's been grand solar minimum quiet for days at solar max. There should be much more activity on the sun, and this is a very quiet sun, but active region 3088 is on its way back, and this is the one that sent that giant flare off the backside. So this is going to be turning around the limb and maybe wreaking havoc on the 23rd of this month. Now, Earth-facing AR 3098 expanded significantly during the past 12 hours in both size and magnetic complexity, and the sunspot group is currently producing mid-level C flares and should now be considered a threat for moderate M-class solar flares. And here we can see that uptick beginning as the magnetic complexity began to mix. There is the sunspot region in question, which has grown quite rapidly. Now, a group of spots there. And here we can see that it is now magnetic class beta with a 25% C, 5% M flare potential. And we can just watch that activity increase on the sun as the video progresses. Some small flashes and C flares you can see occurring there. Boom, boom, and one at the end. So this spot may, for another day, could be geo-effective if there's any big flares coming off, but we're waiting for this. Look at these plasma ropes down here in the bottom left. Holy macaroni, we're waiting for that sunspot that sent that massive kill shot off the backside to turn back around. And it's looking pretty active. Pretty excited for that to turn around. Some science news. Just 2,000 years ago, Betelgeuse was yellow, not red. Now, many people have also noticed, people at my age in their 50s, have noticed that this color of our sun has also changed in their lifetime. Well, a similar thing is happening on Betelgeuse. And compared to the lifespan of stars, human lives are pretty short. Stars such as Betelgeuse in Orion live for millions of years, and others exist for billions of years. If we're lucky, humans get maybe 100 years or less. So to us, stars don't appear to change much over our lifetimes. Or do they? Our sun has changed and Betelgeuse has changed. And another recent dimming event occurred on Betelgeuse. So maybe all that science-y stuff we were taught in our youth is maybe incorrect. Maybe stars are more active than we thought. Maybe they're changing all the time in cyclic patterns. Maybe the pattern of cosmic catastrophe is prevalent on most stars. Whew. Imagine. Now get ready for blackouts from London to LA as the global energy crisis overwhelms grids and sends energy prices skyrocketing. They're blaming it on you right there. First word, climate change. So it's your fault, and soaring energy prices could make widespread blackouts more common, even in wealthy nations. Well, it's actually because of the terrible green energy policies that you have unleashed on the world. And that's what's crippling our electrical infrastructure that powers the planet, oil and gas. It always has. And now we're banning the sale of oil and gas cars in 15 states or something like that by 2035. This is ludicrous. This has now become a prison planet, and you're a prisoner. Here's some more prison news. In Chicago, for years, they've been giving out sewage and imploring the public to grow food in it. Now, what they haven't told the public is that this compost is toxic. Absolutely disgusting. Bags of the earthly muck are labeled organic, and sometimes it's billed as exceptionally quality compost. It's absolutely crazy. No matter how it's described, the humus-like material distributed to gardeners is actually sewage sludge, and it contains forever chemicals known as per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS, that have been widely used for decades in firefighting, foam, and they cause cancer and other products. Isn't that horrible? Now, conventional sewage treatment concentrates these chemicals in the sludge, and they give it away, and they tell you to put it in your garden. So, there's a warning. Do not use Chicago's composting project or whatever it's called. It is poison. And that's a boom. To knowledge, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. I hope you got something out of the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. And be safe. We'll see you soon. That's a boom.